Ha. Okay. F-bombs are armed and going to be dropped because fuck you, that's why. Sorry, I'm just a touch late today. I had an interesting day today. All right. Holy shit, guys. It was just an interesting day, okay? All right. Yeah, I should probably do that, but I don't have time to right now. Because everything else. Hi, bot. Want to make sure I get everything I'm supposed to get. Okay. So, Swiss. Hi. All right. So this is the afternoon stream. It's supposed to be questions and answer from the morning stream. Right. This morning I was talking about comms. Yes, it's actually very hot too. You are the only person on earth that thinks that, Swiss. Okay. So your primary comms should stay your cell phone, which is why, remember, you clip the finger of your work gloves. Damn it, it's hot. After that is anything that makes noise or light to signal to other people, whistles, signal mirrors, calcium lights, rather. These flashy light thingies. Cops? Okay. Communications. Swiss communications. Yeah, anything to maintain communications with the rest of the world. Caucasian Sasquatch brought up during the morning stream the use of different radios. There is a slight problem with the radios. You and the receiving party both have to be on the same channel. And if you're not on the same channel, you're not communicating at all. So that doesn't help you any. I had a bit of a comms breakdown today, which is why we're running late now. Sorry. Where was I? Yes, radios only work if you're both on the same channel. If you're not on the same channel, you don't have communications, and it's not going to work out for you. I know that at least flying on the plane. It is illegal for somebody who is not authorized to use certain radio channels to use those channels. For example, if you don't have a ham license and you get on a ham radio, unless there's a licensed person standing there literally watching you, you're going to be in trouble. Excuse me. All right, that's a real thing. CB, there's no regulation at all. Family radio channel, which I think is the one Squatch brought up this morning, there's no regulation at all. At least one other, forgot what it was, that There's no regulation at all. But ham, police, fire, etc. It is therefore, well, why is it therefore that civilians have talked on police radios and been awarded, rewarded, whatever, for it? Well, in at least one case, um, a guy tried to kill a cop, motorcycle cop specifically, and a good Samaritan came along and the guy bolted out of there. So the suspect, oh, hey, Warpats, please email me. I want to talk to you about something. There it is. Good. Back to comments. Oh, Squatch is also here. I was a little bit into my rant. Totally distracted, guys. I'm sorry. I'm a little distracted this afternoon in general. Where was I? The suspect bolted out of there, so the Good Samaritan came up to the motorcycle, keyed up, and said, hey, you got a hurt cop here. You need to come check him out. Something to that effect. Whole fucking world came down there and checked him out. And then they went off looking for the suspect. Well, the firefighters and paramedics handled the hurt cop. The Good Samaritan was later commended for his actions for talking on a police radio illegally. Yeah, they're going to consider circumstances a lot. Swiss brings up the subject of the film Frequency. The premise of the film is that in the midst of a very, very strange electrical occurrence, a man whose father died when he was a child is getting a radio signal to him. How this should be is currently scientifically impossible. Well, it's called science fiction or fantasy, actually, in that case, for a reason. Right? So don't read anything into that. Hey, Squatch, if you're still here, what was that type of radio that you mentioned this morning? Either way, if both the receiver and transceiver, receiving and transceiving stations are not on the same channel, it's not going to do you any good. There's a little known, thank you, Squatch, MeshNet. That's why I couldn't remember. It's one I've never heard of before. I have, but very, very little. Okay. Little known maritime law is if you have a boat, I think is over 20 feet long. Don't quote me on that because it's been more than, or no, 19 years, more than 15 years since I saw the law. You have to have a type of radio on it, right? Those radios will at bare minimum have channel 16. Channel 16 is hailing in distress, which means you're sitting on 16 and you see somebody out there, you call them on 16 and say, vessel at Frank's Tract, or northbound vessel at Frank's Tract. This is the Spirit of Sacramento on channel 16, and the Spirit of Sacramento. This is mandatory carry. Switch and answer channel 35. Mandatory carry Roger Captain, switching to 3.5. That is the custom and courtesy, right? It's not, to my knowledge, black letter law. All of the regulated channel networks have certain customs and courtesies. But Carrie was telling me that for ham, there's a channel. God damn it! I want to say it was channel 3.5. And I don't remember off the top of my head. He's got the highest level of ham radio, so one of these days he's going to be sitting on his ham and just starts talking, and here's a voice from Tennessee. Squatch, if I knew you knew this much about comms, I might have asked you to come on this morning. Of course, I don't understand a word of what you just said, but that's okay. I'm going to get to this, Boa. What, letting a cop die to obey a law should not be prosecuted? I don't think that's what he meant, guys. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure that's not what he meant. Letting anybody die to obey a law is, unless it's a court order, that's not okay. We love you, Susan. Okay. They all have customs and courtesies. Learn the customs and courtesies as best you can. If it's an emergency, just do what you got to do. Otherwise, obey the law as best as you can. Bo, I think, has clarified that. Okay. The guy who jumped on the police radio, nobody said shit to him about that. Hey, Buckle Bunny's back. Yeah, nobody ever said shit to him about that. And there's not the only example. There are others. One was another police radio. This time, the Good Samaritan grabbed the cop's shotgun as well. And when he realized that the gun was fouled or out of shells or something, grabbed the cop's radio. There's another case where a Good Samaritan grabbed a cop's shotgun after the cop had been shot, fired off a couple of fuck you rounds at the suspect, and then took off. The suspect did not take off because it wasn't. Certain people are incapable of running away from situations on their own. You know what I mean? Strangely enough, the police don't know who that guy was, which tells me there's a reason he left. And yeah, he didn't want to hang around long enough for the cops to say thank you. Actually, this is good for me. I was a little depressed when I got on. Anything that can get a signal out is a good thing, but you got to have somewhere for the signal to go. Hey, Sam. Swiss Miss. A little bit ago. Let me see. Nope, that's not the one. Well, it's somewhere around there. Let me see. Point it out. uh, shit. Did it get removed? Anyway, Swiss Miss pointed out satellite phones. Satellite phones, I've used them. I've dealt with them. They're not the end all be all of communications, but they will get to places that the rest of them may not necessarily get to. Here we go. See, I told you I wasn't crazy. Well, I told you I was confident to stand trial. I was stuck into soul saying crazy shit. Gallium lighters. Gallium lights are also known as glow sticks. They sell these at Dollar Tree, at gas stations, at raves, right? Those things you wear around your neck at 4th of July and other party events. They glow. Those are also Callium. They won't last very long, but they give you a signal for a little while. Sam, if you have to work, I would never want somebody to get fired over this shit show. All right. Anything that makes light or noise, I get a lot looser about my rule. These things are by Life Gear. All you're trying to do is make a light so that somebody out there can see you. Remember, this is a flashlight is a piece of shit, right? All right, so there we go. Not a whole lot of light. Oh yeah, now it looks like a whole lot of light. You'll just have to trust me. These are horrible as flashlights, but you can see them up to a quarter mile away. Flat level ground, you can see these up to a quarter mile away. And even if you can't see the actual light, you can see the effect of the light around it. So if you're in a crowded forest and you turn this on, right? Somebody somewhere is going to say, hey, there's red light over there. We should probably go look that direction. Red light is not natural. A correction. Maybe natural, but it's not supposed to be there. I think Sam is talking about Callium lights. Mix the green ones with KY, and that's how you get predator blood. Okay. And that's also how you expand the light area, which makes you easier to see. Car lights, by the way, emergency flashers, and headlights is the reason why California National Guard was able to rescue those 200 plus people and their dogs from the campground that got overrun last summer by which fire was it? You know what? They all kind of blend in together at some point in my head. Swiss Miss says, set phones never let me down. Well, when I was on active duty in 2003, they did nothing but let me down. To the point where we were ordered not to use them anymore by my section leader. Contrary to the senior chief who's in command, she wanted them used because her boss wanted them used, because his boss wanted them used, and so on and so on. And then about 3 weeks later, the phone was gone. So that whole network, by the way, is now gone. Those satellites were, quote, deorbited because the whole thing fell apart. All right, guys, go ahead and ask questions because that's what this is all about, right? You know, I've been kind of ranting for the last 20 minutes, and I don't like that either. Also, fire is a weapon. Deborah Burks lies, her feet stinks, and Jesus does not love her. And now the secret's out, and she has to admit it. And I hate gun groups. I hate them all at this point. By all means, prove me wrong. Find one that can prove me wrong. I'd be very interested to see that. God damn. Oh. Jesus Christ, am I really... All right. Bo says that he gave me a question last week that I did not answer, and I apologize, and I'm confused. I didn't do Q&A last week. So please ask again, and I will put that to the absolute top of the list. Fire is actually an unpredictable weapon. It's great when it works, but you can't always be sure what it's going to do. Now, if you don't care, then it's still great. It does nothing but cause chaos. And if chaos is enough for you at that point, great. Go ahead. Otherwise, if you're looking to destroy someplace specific or something specific, probably want to try something else. My concept last summer for the use of fire as a weapon did not require any degree of specificity. None. You set fire to a field of wheat in such a way that it will spread to the nearby city. Good enough. And hey, guess what? City of Greenville, California. Somebody deliberately set that fire. They literally caught her still in the fire zone. Apparently she'd hurt herself somehow. On her, as she's trying to climb out of the forest, the firefighters ran into her, and she said, I was hurt. I was trying to build a campfire to make tea or some ridiculous bullshit like that. They said, no, you're not, and handed her off to Modoc Sheriff's Office, I believe it was. And 6 weeks later, 6 months, whatever, she was found not competent to stand trial. Well, anyway, they got her. Zero 200 Swiss Miss. It's when your body is at your low ebb. You should be asleep. Your natural sleep cycle is to be asleep. And even us night owls, 0200, we're dragon. We are dragon. Okay, that is a very complex question, Boa. Hi, DJ. I asked whether you think human nature allows us to actually trust having power in a government that won't be eventually abused. That is a very complicated question. Or is a stateless society the only long-term solution? And the only part of that I can say for sure is a stateless society is not a solution at all. That is the worst solution. Every power system will be abused by those who get into it with the intent to abuse it. And sometimes it's abused by those who got in without the intent to abuse it. So I can't give you a pat answer here, but I can tell you that a stateless system is the worst system. As a matter of fact, if he's still out there, Caucasian Sasquatch had a guest on it just 2 weeks ago who said something about privatizing police. That is the worst solution on earth. Nothing but abuse comes from that. Okay. Somalia. I don't need to try something that's been proven to not work. We love you, Susan. Rock on, DJ. DJ also says he typically sleeps every third day. Okay. I'm pretty sure he's exaggerating, although DJ is actually a veteran, so he might not be exaggerating as much as it sounds. Bo also wants to know how I would know it's a stateless system. It's a bad one if I've never tried it. Well, the same way I've never tried it. Outright tyranny, where the people that got into power abused their power, like Justin Trudeau. Oh, damn. There is no universal ethical standard, Boa. There are literally people out there. Hold on to what I'm about to say and don't respond, people, until I'm done speaking. There really are people out there who think it's okay to have sex with 12-year-olds. This is not me speaking. Right? So much so that was their whole defense when they went to trial. I know y'all heard me. And I want to congratulate you on not blowing your shit. Because it's not me speaking. That was Count Dankula, who's relating the story of the Pitcairn Island child abuse trial, which was held by the Crown when they discovered widespread child sex on the island. That's not me speaking. If I'd known that was coming up, I'd have had that video in another tab. So I am sorry. I will put it into the description afterwards. Yeah, the Pitcairn trial. Pitcairn sex something on Count Dankula's channel. Yeah, I remember I watched it and said, what the fuck? I stand corrected, DJ. Okay, Swiss. Bernie, I did see walk in. I'm catching up with the chat too. Okay. How to use fire as a weapon. Well, I'm not going to get too deep into this. But in short, you set up a fire in such a way that natural causes will get it to spread into cities where it probably will take deep, deep root. We had a warning that this was coming. Not Fort McMurdo. Fort McLeod? Something like that. It was a city up in Canada that burned to the ground. I want to say back in the 90s. Wildfire broke out. Winds pushed it right into the city. They evacuated the city as well as they could, and they still lost people. Long before they could even try to get a handle on it and maybe slow the fire down enough that the people could finish evacuating, the fire overwhelmed the fire department's ability to respond. We've had this warning sitting around for about 20 years now. I remember I'm hearing about this and thinking that's the way of the future. Why are we ignoring this? But we did. And now every year California loses a couple cities to a wildfire that overwhelms local resources. Europe, half of Europe's countries have raging wildfires that they cannot begin to slow down or contain. Papa Kerry said he saw Australian firefighters up in California again. It's really effective. We should know that because napalm was General LeMay's weapon of choice against Japan. And it was that effective. Okay. We've been here before. You will never find anything that's preferable by all people at all times, other than don't punch somebody in the face. I can almost guarantee you somebody somewhere will think your refusal to punch them in the face is rude. The Fremen of Arrakis, it is considered polite to spit on somebody's boot. I give you water. I'm not even joking here, guys. I give you water. I spit on your boot. Thermobaric weapons was the weapon of choice by LeMay. Thank you, Boa. And he wants to know why CO2 is not effective against forest fires. Well, first of all, CO2 is heavier than air. And second of all, it spreads because it is a gas. So it spreads out and away before it has a chance to put the fire out. Yeah. You'd have to dump the CO2 right onto the burning area. On the other hand, the CO2 is cold, which in that dry, hot air, and the cold air passing through the dry air generates static electricity. It, anybody, can anybody remind me what happens when enough static electricity hangs in the air in a very, very dry forest? Uh, okay. Bernie says he carries. Bernie says he carries a glove just for slapping people. Um, okay, well, be sure to clip the index finger, tip of the index finger off on your glove, so you can still use your cell phone in an emergency. There, Bern. Okay. And no, Boa, that's Sam. Sam's the one that drives around with the brick in his trunk. I don't think. By the way, folks, I don't think Sam is joking when he says that he drives around with a brick in his trunk. Hey, thank you. What happens when you have static electricity in a hot, dry environment? Yeah. Seriously, folks, I don't think he is. He said it while he was off the air. Well, it's actually more than once, but once in particular I can remember. Um, that was when I was at Papa Carey's. That's why I remember it. Yeah, bricks are for war. Well, we don't want to get the channel shut down today. All right, we don't want to get a stream nuked today, so let's not get into that kind of language. Just know that it's not necessarily mandatory carries good behavior anymore, although it's not my outright bad behavior. Okay. All right. I talked about 9017 this morning a little bit. I spurred out a little bit this morning. Hey, folks, listen, I don't care if you mean it in love or in hate. If you're telling the truth about me, I'm going to say thank you. So, Ghost, if you ever see this, you're right. I am a disturbed sociopath. I'm okay with that. Thank you for pointing it out. It's not necessarily a good thing, but it's true. By the way, Ghost said it in love. Well, yeah, okay, great. But thank you for that too, bud. You crayon eater. Shit. Folks, only Marines call Marines crayon eaters. Okay? And they usually mean it with love unless somebody's really, really that stupid. In which case, it's actually an insult. But I know he likes being called crayon eater. And by the way, his favorite flavor is grape. Purple. Excuse me. By the way, if any of you call him a crayon eater, I will fucking cuss you out for a month. I'm known to do that. I'm known to do that. Start scaling back on the use of SSRI and all other mind-altering substances, because how medical science doesn't understand this yet is amazing to me. You all know how easily I drop an L bomb. Now here I am, not dropping it yet. But fuck you, it's loaded. After 30 years of experimenting, socially experimenting with mind altering substances as a matter of routine in medical care, especially mental health care, to say that you really didn't know that these aren't effective, um, losing faith in your ability to do your job, doctors. You're really making me wonder how carefully you studied in school, or if that's the problem. Sam, I want to try to remember to email you after the stream about exactly that. Uh, After 30 years of playing dice with people's lives, it's time to stop playing dice and start having real solutions. My Tourette's has probably been made infinitely worse. No, correction. It was made worse by the Ritalin when I was 14 years old. How much worse is the question. We don't know yet. We're never going to know. So, Boa has a lot more experience with driving in cold environments than I do. And he's going on a lot in the chats. Oh, shit. I'll just go ahead and. He said something about putting sandbags in the trunk, which I kind of know. Uh, okay. This wasn't exactly winter driving survival day, so I did make that one short. First of all, I know this reference. Never ever look at a smile. Never ever look at a. Fuck you, Offler. I mean, first of all, I know that reference. Second of all, I wasn't talking about gods, Samuel. I was talking about men, doctors, playing dice with our lives. It's time to stop playing dice. It was brought up this morning, and I'm not really sure exactly how, but I'm pretty sure I said it first, that the shooter at Uvalde and uh, um, Sandy Hook were on mind-altering drugs. So was one of the boys at Columbine. And and yet we're not seeing a pattern here. Why is it these kind of antisocial boys, mostly, are going on to become mass murderers Only mysteriously after they start taking these mind-altering drugs. Let's take a look. Let's ask ourselves that question. I'm just saying. I've got to get me one of those short-range wireless mice. I have it right here so I can play with the thing without anybody being any the wiser. I have no idea, Boa. I really don't. And to find out all of those answers would require so much digging and re-digging that it may not even be worth it. All right. Enough dancing around the subject here, because I've been doing that for the last 10 minutes or so. Stop the personality control drug experiment. It's not working. Take these kids off the Ritalin, the whatever it is. It's not working. All right. And we're creating generations of not sociopaths like I am, but full-on psychopaths who do not understand right from wrong, do not care about right from wrong, and will go off on shooting sprees because what? I'm not supposed to do that? What do you mean I'm not supposed to massacre 12-year-olds in their classroom? What do you mean I'm not supposed to shoot up bars full of gays? What do you mean I'm not supposed to put a whole fucking country in fear by being infamous for the first mass high school shooting? I'm so proud of myself right now. For just a moment, I forgot their names. Now, I know it's going to come to me in a minute because one of the first names is coming to me really hard and fast, and I'm not going to repeat it anyway. I can't remember the other one's first name or either of their last names right now. Thank you, God, for freeing me from that memory. Nothing. For those of you that are bashing on Uvalde police, there's two sides to that story. You need to hear the other side first. Mistakes were made. Absolutely, mistakes were made. One of those mistakes was the cop that had the shooter in his sights from 100 yards, not 400 yards. 100 yards. Didn't take the shot when he had it. I also goddamn guarantee you, if he'd taken that shot and missed, didn't matter if he hit one of the kids or not, people would be screaming bloody murder about he tried to kill those kids. The cop tried to kill those kids. I know because I see it myself. Wait, he had the shooter in his sights. And he didn't take the shot. Why not? Well, then I hear the rest of the story. Oh. Yeah, if he'd missed, he would have killed one of those kids. Zombium. Okay. Guys, please ask a couple of questions on topic questions real quick in the chat because we are going to wrap it up here in about 9 minutes. Okay. I know this is going to sound strange because I really fucking hate this guy. All right. I really fucking hate Alex Jones. I did meet him. I didn't realize this until sometime last year. I met him sometime, it's junior year, late sophomore, or by mid junior year of high school. He was at Anderson. I was at Shasta. We crossed paths a couple times, and he was that weirdo UFO guy. Right, he's weirdo UFO guy, obsessed with Area 51 and alien autopsies and shit. Right, I can't even remember exactly, but he was the weirdo conspiracy guy. All right. On the other hand, what they're doing to him is actually a crime. Yes, he did say what people say he said. All right. And he was wrong, and he should be paying some for that. But what they're trying to do is shut everybody down by making it very clear if you say the wrong thing, they will do everything humanly possible to silence you forever. And that is very dangerous. It was people asking questions that other people did not like having to answer that revealed the syphilis experiments, the Tunguski syphilis experiments. Oh, shit. Did you forget about that? It was people asking questions that other people did not really want to answer that revealed what really happened at Watergate office building. Whatever. It was people asking questions that other people did not want to answer that has revealed so many other things in this universe. And you know what? People asking questions that other people didn't want to answer is the reason why we are slowly finding out what legitimately went wrong at Evolved and how to fix that. Oh, yeah, that game doesn't go one way. Everybody has the right to ask the question. And for what it's worth, all Alex really did was ask it as a question. He never actually specifically said this person or that person is a crisis actor, to the best of my knowledge. That was people around him who took what he actually said and turned it into something he didn't say. Warpat, if you're still out there, it's kind of related to the apology I owe you, but not a couple other people. Swissmiss, I have a Motorola and the default is Google, so, but I think it's Android. Samuel says, people who say trust the science admit that science is asking questions. Oh, gee, almost as if Samuel has heard about a particular quote by medical doctor. So go fuck yourself for those that want to read about it. Michael Crichton. Michael Crichton, better known as Jurassic Park. He was a medical doctor. He never practiced, and he died very suddenly of congenitive disease. I forgot what it was. I know I can't prove that he knew as early as medical school that something was wrong. He just happened to not actually practice as a doctor on patients. I'm just saying. If I known that question was going to come up, I would have said something. Oh, say a prayer for Alex, anyways. That actual justice prevails, and not a lynch mob. There, I said it. Fuck you. What the plaintiff's attorneys have put together is an attempt at a modern, a legal lynch mob and nothing more. They were going to try to use this as a way to set the precedent. If you say something somebody doesn't like, they will destroy you utterly to the ends of the earth. Apparently Michael Crichton died of cancer. Just what kind, I don't know. Alex didn't call for violence. He never once called for violence that I ever heard of. You'd think after all this time somebody would be throwing it in my face. Oh, these are all the times he called for violence. Never seen it. It'd be one thing if he called for violence, like that self-hating faggot back in the 1980s who's so happy about HIV because Apple. This is a quote, so don't give me some shit later. Quote, I love this AIDS thing. It's killing the faggots and the niggers and the queers. I love it. It's just great. Ha ha. End quote. That's a call for violence. That is a legitimate reason to go after him for everything possible. All right. What Alex did was ask stupid questions because he's a fucking idiot. Right there, I said it. Alex is a fucking moron. He has been since high school. Oh. All right. Samuel says Jones also apologized to the families if memory serves. I have heard this repeatedly. I have never seen the apology. I have never seen anybody say, no, he didn't. I'm going to take it as an article of faith. Yes, he did. I just haven't seen it. I assume this is in reference to Michael Crichton. Yes, actually, he did finish. Oh, and by the way, his attorneys accidentally gave information to the plaintiff's attorneys about some private text messages that those attorneys should have known not to say anything about. I'm sitting here thinking, wait a minute, they gave you that? And your attorney sitting there just staring off at the judge as if nothing happened. Kind of interesting. Correct. This is correct. Michael Crichton got his medical doctorate, but he did not practice. I will accept it as an article of faith that he never got his medical license in his state because he never practiced. He didn't need it. All right, Sam, thank you for coming. We're actually getting ready to wrap it up here. Okay, guys. 9017 is coming. I don't care if you believe me or not. It's been happening off and on for the last 20 years, and I just didn't really want to see it myself. I'm tired of pretending I don't see what I saw. So get those get home bags ready. I don't care what you carry at the end of the day, but you better carry something because your own life depends on it. You may not be able to save your own life, but you may be able to put a few fuck you rounds back towards whoever's causing the breach of public peace long enough for others to get away. And if you don't believe me, Susanna Hupp Gracia would be happy to tell you her story, right down to the part about thinking I've got him and then realizing she didn't have him. Good night, Swiss. Everybody, 9017 is coming. Get your get home bag ready. Carry all the time to the limits of your realistic ability. And until next Thursday, keep calm and mentally carry on.